Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear me, and the pod Midlife by Design. Happy birthday to us. That's right. Midlife by Design is 1 year old, and I am recording this pod on my birthday. So all the birthday fucking vibes you can possibly have are happening today. So thank you so much for being here and listening. I'm your host, Lisai, human design coach for midlife women. Think of me as your frequency midlife and blueprint guide for midlife rebirth. Modern mystic, if you will, midlife midwife, if you will, manifestation muse, helping you birth the truest version of yourself by design. Today's pod is all about a year in review, looking back and reflecting on what I've learned from this pod and how I plan to show up for you in the coming year, as well as a call for some audience interaction. Let me hear from you. I would love to hear what you love about this pod, what you do not love about this pod, what you wish there were more of, and basically how I can serve you better. How can I support you? So please reach out and leave a message, and I'm going to go into it on the pod. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to Midlife by Design. Happy birthday. Today marks the 1 year anniversary of this pod, and I am just going to do a quick little episode here as a thank you, as a reflection, and to express from the bottom of my heart how appreciative I am that you are here. Because 1 year ago, actually, it was a couple of days ago at this point, I launched the trailer on June 27th of 2024. I started this podcast, and I started it because I wanted to build a community of midlife women who knew that there was something more to midlife than suffering through perimenopause. There was more to it than losing their identities as mothers in a way who are mothering older children, losing their identities potentially as whatever they had defined themselves by their career and or their relationships, and just looking at this time of life as a shift, a huge shift usually, but not as a loss, instead as a reinvention. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I thought the podcast might be and what it's actually become, and also where we are going. So in many regards, this was a classic Lori move in that I felt the pull, the sacral pull. I waited. I did wait this time for, and I have been learning this by using my human design and just studying it and being more deeply integrated with it. I've definitely done a better job of waiting, because in the past, when an idea like this would come into my mind, I'd just jump in and I would figure it out, which is very much what I have done with this. However, I wouldn't necessarily always wait. I would get that sacral push and just go for it. And this time it was like, I've been thinking about this for a while. I looked for nuds. That would be a combination of a nudge and a nod from the universe to to take this path, to follow this course. And so I did. And definitely, classic Lori. There are plenty of Sunday nights when I'm recording a pod to drop on Monday morning. And today is my birthday, and it's no different because it's been a really busy weekend. And Friday was a really busy day. And so, such is life. But one of the things that I have learned through being dedicated and being committed to this podcast is how much consistency matters when you're passionate about a project. So even if it might burn my ass sometimes to take a Sunday to record the pod and to edit it and take time out of my weekend, there's still always just this nugget of deep love and satisfaction that I feel because I know that you're out there listening and that you count on this pod to bring you light, to bring you joy, to bring you hope for when you're just feeling shitty through perimenopause or feeling shitty about midlife in general or feeling lost and untethered. And so that really keeps me going. And I see this podcast as a portal, not just for you, but for me too. And in this solar return time of year for me, I'm stepping into a new one and changing things a little bit. I'm also inviting you to give me feedback because as a generator, I thrive on responding, as you know, in human design. And I don't always know how things are landing. So it really helps me to understand what episodes are resonating with you. What do you want to hear more about? What are you struggling with in midlife that would it would really help you to understand or to dig in deeper? So, the easiest way to send me something is probably on Instagram. You send me a DM, or on Facebook, you can send me a message. I'm at Lori Lisai, both places. And just tell me what is resonating with you. What do you want to hear more of on the pod? What are your favorite episodes so far? So that I can create more of those episodes for you to support you. So, as you know, I look at midlife not as a crisis, but as an invitation to return to that soul being, that real, most true version of yourself. And one thing that I have noticed and have been sort of tossing around in my head is the fact that perimenopause so often is symptom focused, right? It's about what are the symptoms that you are experiencing in the transition of perimenopause. And it's always about the things that are going kind of awry in your body. Is it night sweats? Is it hot flashes? Is it low libido? Is it brain fog, whatever, any one of the number of 80 symptoms. I included quite a few of them in the perimenopause survival guide. So if you haven't downloaded that and you're not sure if you're in perimenopause or what symptoms you might have, download that. It's one of my freebies. So one of the things though about this symptom focus is I think that we lose the forest through the trees, lose kind of we get lost in the soup of the symptoms, and we don't look at this phase of life as the invitation that it is. And remember, our symptoms are our messengers. Our body is this beautiful place that houses our spirit during this lifetime. And the discomfort of these symptoms is an invitation to pay attention to our body in a way that maybe we never have. So, excuse me, it's a physical, our body is a physical manifestation and a gift that we get to experience life through. And when we have symptoms, it's our body talking to us, right? Helping us come back to this sacred vessel and listen to its wisdom instead of treating it in such a utilitarian way, which I think is partially a byproduct of capitalism and patriarchy, and partially a byproduct of how much we have relied on technology and screens and having, so much going on our phones that we literally just stay in our minds the whole time. So, midlife is this soul return. It's this cosmic checkpoint. And you know that human design, astrology, the types of tools that I talk about on a regular basis are the map back to who we truly are, our truth. And they are the tools that I love to use to help us shed all of that conditioning, shed the shoulds, get out of our own way and back to the beautiful humans who we came here to be. So I had a reading on Friday, and a solar return reading, and one of the things that came up was this idea of the woo. And I think it was my reflection that I feel like I have maybe been holding back a little bit on the woo. And I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, she's holding back on the woo. And I'm saying, yes, actually, I am. Like, I can get so fucking woo and I love it so much. And I get what I'm coming here to tell you today is that I'm done holding back on that. I am so ready to get more woo and more wild on the pod. So, my Mercury, I have a transit happening on my natal Mercury, which is in Leo. And oh my God, my dog is shaking in the background. And so apologies if you can hear that. Anyway, my Mercury is your and yours too is all about your expression and how you communicate and what you communicate. And for me, having it in Leo is so important because it's all about shining bright. It's like rock star energy is that Leo. Leo the lion, they're like out there, they're like badass, they're like treat me like the queen I am. And it's what's so interesting and also wildly appropriate for who I am and what I talk about is that my Leo Mercury is also on my descendant, and my rising sign is Aquarius, which is all about who you in my first house. So it's all about who you are, who I am in particular as a human being. And Aquarius is like a little funky, a little weird, a little not a little, a lot of innovative, a lot of like thinking about the future. So me over here ready to fucking cheerlead you into being your highest self is so in line with my chart, my map, and who I am. So I wanted to just pull back the curtain a little bit about some of the things in my chart to help you understand better who I am and what it is that you hear coming through every week. I also have some sixth house transits, which is fun because that means a lot of my day to day rituals and magic and more integration of the body and working with the nervous system. So expect to hear more about that this year. And I have basically a lot of focus in the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth houses this year. So the fifth house, some of the themes are creativity and joy and fun. It's like I always think of the fifth house as kind of like the party house. It's not like to all that it is, but we're going to go with that for now. The sixth house is about the body and well-being and health and vitality and daily work. And the seventh house is relationships And the eighth house takes those relationships into depth and transformation. And it's also about other people's monies and inheritances and, money coming to you through other people. So all of these are themes of mine for the year. And so I'm excited to talk about some of those themes, as well as talking about manifestation. I plan to have a few more episodes focusing on that and tying that into human design, because our thoughts dictate our lives, and our nervous system has a lot to, it has influence on our thoughts. So I will be parsing that out and investigating that connection some more. So if you're still here, if you've been listening for the last year, then you are part of the Midlife by Design tribe. And again, I am so appreciative that you have been listening. If you love this pod, then the best thing you can do for the pod is to share it with other people, because as it grows, and the more people hear it, the more it gets supported. And then I am continuing to be able to create the pod, because creating a podcast is not free. And so the more support that I can get to do this, the better the product is that I will be able to deliver to you. So I want you to think of the pod as not just this thing that you listen to on Mondays and some other Fridays, random Fridays, but as a container that holds the energy of this podcast in real time. And I want to actually invite you into a 3D version of that, which is the Midlife Magic membership, where we spend time in sacred sisterhood talking about human design and really bringing it to life, because I am walking you through different ways to integrate it on a daily basis. I send you things each week to really dive into your human design and start to experiment, so it becomes part of the fabric of your life, instead of just listening to or reading some random books or picking it up here and there and not really doing anything with it. Because 5-line speaking here, you know that if you're just stuck in learning mode and you're not practicing any of what you're learning, then you're not truly coming back to yourself. You're not integrating the human design and shedding those shoulds. So midlife magic is this container that helps you to do that supports you to do that. So I am so excited to be in the second chapter of Midlife by Design, and to be walking alongside you as your midlife midwife, as your spiritual spark plug, as your creative director of your next chapter. So I invite you to listen along with me, and please reach out and let me know what resonates with you, what you want to hear in this new year, and what feels like it would be supportive to you. Even if you don't necessarily know what you want to hear, you can send me a message about what your struggles are, and then I can respond with some podcasts that will help address that. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening all year. Thank you for sharing. And I am wishing you such an amazing week. Until next time. I want to thank you once again for listening to the pod. I appreciate it so much that you spend your time with me on Mondays or whatever day you're catching the pod. It really does mean the world to me. So I am wishing that you breathe through the ache of perimenopause, of midlife, of whatever brings you down in this time of life. I invite you to trust the timing, and I am over here cheering for you to emerge as the woman that you were always meant to be. I will be here, your spiritual spark plug, your portal priestess, if you will, holding space at the threshold and witnessing your return to you.